Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Snack Thoughts. I say again, welcome to Snack Thoughts. And what is my thought for the night? Well, I obviously am an avid YouTube watcher. I actually watch more YouTube than I do television. Probably maybe 95% of the time I'm watching YouTube, you know. And so I ran across some content, and everybody, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels, but I ran across some content where they're talking about this high value man. And so I don't want to mention any names of who the YouTuber was, but they mentioned that, I guess they disagree with the high value man, and so that concept. And so they had I guess scheduled, to go live on what does the high value man bring to the black community, and obviously I am African American, but that's neither here or there. And so here are my thoughts on that particular comment, or that future live stream, which he's intends on doing. But you've heard of the high value man, which Kevin Samuels created, and there are I guess people that have similar viewpoints, but then there's some that have different viewpoints on it. But here's my take on it. The high value man is obviously supposed to be a man of tremendous means, primarily, the wealthy. And then also, supposedly they have, good value, supposedly. Now, not all guys with wealth or affluence, have the best personalities. But I'm going to keep this as simple as I can. But supposedly this so-called high value man is supposed to have wealth. It's supposed to be driven. I guess, one that because they have many options with women, they pick, and obviously choose the best, which that's human nature. There's nothing wrong with that. But now, here's where I'm going with this, with the high value man, and many people feeling that they are entitled or owed something. Now, when that individual, for that live stream that they're going to do on YouTube, what does the high value man bring to the black community? First of all, I don't care if this so-called high value man, if they're black, white, Asian, whatever, Spanish, it doesn't matter. Those men, they put in the work and the sweat equity to produce on that level. And there's a saying that goes like this: nobody owes you anything. And so these high value men, regardless of race or color, they don't owe any community anything, if they're white and they fit the term, of a high value man. They don't owe the white community or anyone anything, because they were the ones that they put the work in, to produce and build themselves up to that point. Now, the only exception might be if people supported them when they didn't have anything, and they put in work with them to help them build and become successful. But in most cases, I'm not saying that everybody makes it by themselves, but in most cases, these men, they worked very hard, and they made the sacrifices in order to get to where they are, today. And for a group, just because they may be born of a certain race or ethnicity, that was an individual that made sacrifices, and they put in the hard work to become successful as they are. And just because they may be, like I said, the same race or ethnicity, that does not entitle a group of people that these men don't even know and have never met, and in most cases will never meet, not entitled to their resources. That doesn't make any sense. That'd be like asking LeBron James, because he's African American, that he owes the black community something or his resources. Technically, no, he doesn't, because the African American community, or any other community for that matter, number one, they don't have his God-given talent. Number two, they did not make the sacrifices for him to get into the gym, to go to, say, maybe certain camps, or to, practice. Where was the African American community at when he was growing up in Akron and was poor? And, he didn't have anything. So he doesn't owe anybody anything, you know what I'm saying? Because they weren't there. They didn't pour the time and, the effort and the money, or they didn't sacrifice with him. So he doesn't owe anybody anything outside of his family, and I'm talking about his wife and his children. Obviously, of course, you're going to take care of your parents or your mother, because they raised you and they poured into you. But technically, even on that, he doesn't owe anybody anything outside of his wife and kids, to be honest. But and I'm just using him as an example, but there are other men that fit this category that are high value men. I mean, you have them in different industries. You have them in different industries. You can have them in acting. Acting. I mean, engineering, sciences. But these guys, put that work in. These guys made that sacrifice, and it's shameful to say. I know that people are people, but I'm gonna be honest on something. The African American community has a bad habit of feeling that they have ownership on individuals that make it to the top, but when they were in the struggle phase, a lot of times the African American community are nowhere to be found. Sometimes many, are what I would say porch critics or porch judges. When the person's putting in the hard work to build themselves up, many are just sitting on the sidelines throwing stones or saying, you're not going to make it, or they're putting their 2 cents in, but they're not putting their effort in, to help the individual. And the truth be told, a lot of African Americans, they don't support. I'm not saying all, but they don't support, other African Americans to become successful, because many have the crabs in a barrel mentality. I'm just going to keep it real. And I know this goes on in other communities, but the African American community is notorious for having the crabs in a barrel mentality. And so now that these type of men, and it goes on in other communities too, when these men make it to the top, all of a sudden these people show up out the woodworks trying to lay tabs on them or tabs on their resources. That right there simply is unrealistic, and it's just not fair. You get what you pay for and you get what you work for. A high value man doesn't owe anyone anything. They put that work in, not the community, or according to YouTube, not the community. If you didn't help them build, how do they owe you anything? How do they owe a bunch of people that they don't even know something? And another thing is that once they make it to a successful level, what sense would it make for them to come back to some so-called community and do what? Do what? What? Try to build it up, so that those that are unappreciative because they didn't work for it, so they can tear it down. I mean, you have to be realistic here. So the high value men doesn't owe any community or any group of people, regardless of their ethnic background, their skin color. They owe no one nothing, but themselves, because they were the ones that made the sacrifices to become successful. And for any group of people to try to lay claim to another person's wealth or resources that they never worked for, or they didn't contribute anything, It's honestly, it's just ludicrous, and it's foolish. The Bible says if a man does not work, he should not eat. You know, another point, I want to get to is that nobody owns anybody. The only person who truly owns anybody besides that individual is God. God says that every soul is his. He's the only one that absolutely owns anybody. So when they speak of these high value men, feeling that because they're of a certain race or ethnic background that they should only be with the same race, that's another thing that's foolish. Love is love. And you're attracted to whom you're attracted to. That cannot be helped. It should not matter whether they're black, white, whatever. If a high value man wants to be with a woman that is of a different ethnicity, that's their choice and that's their business. But anyway, I'm gonna get off of this, but I just thought I just share something, just brief and quick, but that's a lot of nerve and audacity to say that wealthy men, owe a community and a group of people that they don't even know something. And especially with the problems that are in the African American community, why would an individual at that level that climbed out of that, or maybe they came from the middle class that was never a part of that, why would they bother trying to go back into a community of foolishness and dysfunction and drama? Get real. Give me a break. And this ain't just this is for any community, but the black community is I guess maybe the loudest at trying to being outspoken and laying claims onto successful men. Once they reach their success, all of a sudden they want to claim them, and they owe us. You know what I'm saying? Get real. They high value men owe nobody nothing. You didn't help them put in to become successful. As a result, you was on the sidelines then, watching and judging. Stay on the sidelines and keep on watching because they're living their lives. That's all I have on this one. And the name of this podcast is called Snakz Thoughts. SNAKZTHOUGHTS. And you can find this podcast on Anchor, Acast, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Radio PBM, and a host of other social media platforms. So please subscribe to Snakz Thoughts. Join. Also, I have a YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube. That's EricBroadus YouTube, or ericbroadusyoutube.com. So go over there, subscribe to my channel, smash the bell, to become a subscriber. Hit that like button, to like the video. Hit the unlike button if you don't like it, and leave a comment. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Lastly, I'm teaching courses on Skillshare, and I will leave the link in the description. In my courses, I teach on how to succeed in the military, leadership, cultural diversity, and a host of other topics. So please join the course on Skillshare. But that's all I have, guys, on this one. But the high value man owes no one anything. Peace out, guys. Catch you on the next one.